Thank you for viewing this brief preview of the IPEC America's e-learning course, Level 1 Excipient GMPs for Manufacturing Workers. There are 3 versions of this course: Production and Maintenance, for those employees directly involved in the manufacture of excipients or maintenance of excipient manufacturing equipment; Laboratory, for employees who perform laboratory analytical and other testing associated with the manufacture of excipients; and Warehouse and Bulk Handling. This is for employees who work in excipient warehouses, including shipping and receiving and bulk storage facilities. This also includes employees of excipient distributors. A Level 2 course for supervisory personnel will be available by the fourth quarter of 2016. The course was developed by the International Pharmaceutical Excipients Council of the Americas, or IPEC Americas. The course instructor, Dr. Erwin Silverstein, consultant to IPEC Americas, will now guide you through this preview.
As you review this preview, please keep in mind that this is merely a selection of the content of the e-learning course, representing perhaps 10% of the material. The course begins as follows. Welcome to the Level 1 course, Good Manufacturing Practices for Manufacturing Employees. We're glad that your company has provided you with an opportunity to learn about good manufacturing practices and how they pertain to the job you perform for your company. We ask that you read the content of each slide as you listen to my presentation. At periodic intervals, you will be asked to answer a few questions as a knowledge check related to what was just presented. The first sections present background information to provide you with an understanding of excipients and their role in the manufacture of finished pharmaceuticals. Since an understanding of this material is not a requirement for training in good manufacturing practices, there is no passing grade for the short exercises at the end. However, the remaining information is a requirement for training, and correctly answering the questions at the end of each of these sections is a requirement. Passing the exercise will verify that you have read the slides, listened to my presentation, and have understood the material. If your answer to a question is wrong, you can review the materials in that portion of this course to learn why another answer is correct. Then you can retake the exercise, but note that the questions may be different. However, you cannot proceed to the next portion of the course until you have correctly answered the number of questions required to confirm you have learned the material in the previous section. At the end of the course, after the last exercise, you will be asked to complete an evaluation of this training. Please provide honest feedback so that we can improve the content as needed. Then you can print a certificate that demonstrates you have learned the material in the course. This certificate serves as a record of completion in this training. Welcome back from the knowledge check. Now we'll turn our attention to a brief overview of good manufacturing practice. Excipient GMP requires that employees be trained in the activities that you perform. Training can be a combination of on-the-job and classroom training and certification. Certification is illustrated by a license to drive a forklift or a trade license, such as for a plumber or electrician. You are also required to be trained in good manufacturing practices and how they apply to you in the job you perform. This course meets the requirements for training in GMP. Excipient GMP also requires specific training in hygienic practices because of the risk to excipient quality, and this will be covered in detail shortly. Finally, this course addresses the excipient GMP requirement that you be aware of your obligation to report failures and deviations from procedures and instructions. Poor hygienic practices pose a serious risk of excipient contamination. Dirt on your clothes can transfer to the excipient where the excipient is exposed to the environment. The dirt can be from other equipment in the area or chemicals used in the manufacture of the excipient or another material being manufactured nearby. Maintenance workers can transfer dirt to the equipment when being serviced. Hair in the excipient presents an image that the excipient is unclean, but perspiration that gets into the excipient allows the transfer not only of dirt, but harmful bacteria. We'll now focus our attention on data integrity. Data integrity is an important issue in our industry. The integrity of the data on records is essential for demonstrating to the auditor, whether an FDA inspector or a customer, that good manufacturing practices and associated procedures and instructions were followed. Data integrity requires complete, consistent, and accurate data on records, whether the record is electronic or paper. The data must be attributable to an individual who made the entry, be legible, entered contemporaneous with the activity, meaning recorded as the activity is completed or the data developed, be original, meaning the data is a printout or a true photocopy or scanned image of the data, and finally, the data must be accurate. Please keep these principles in mind as you record information related to producing the excipient. At the end of each section of the course, the participant is asked to answer questions as a knowledge check. This slide illustrates the nature of the questions asked and relates to a slide in this preview. For mandatory sections of the course, the participant must get 2 out of 3 questions correct. Here is contact information to learn more about this course. You can reach us at the phone number, email address, or website listed on this slide.